1 and 2 and 3. Today I'm going to show you how to build your own improv phrases using the Barry Harris dominant scale rules. If you don't know me yet, my name's Sean. I studied with Barry for almost 2 decades. Now I teach members on jazz skills. So if you're interested in skyrocketing your improv or any part of your play on any level, then come and see us there. I have taught these rules before here, so I won't go into too much depth. I'll just do a 1-minute catch up. And if you already know them, then you can skip to this point in the video. So if we take the C7 scale, descending, we add this extra B natural. If we're descending from one of the chord notes, okay, the 1, 3, 5, or 7. So if I'm descending from 3, the same B natural. In other words, an extra half step, as he used to say, between root and 7. Same if I'm descending from the 5th, G. Same if I'm descending from B flat, 7th. From any other point, from these points, we don't need that extra because it's all about the rhythm. See, if I come down from C, think time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now if I go from 2, 1 and 2, no extra, 3 and 4 and 1. I arrive at the same place at the same time. Notice also that the chord notes of C7 have ended up falling on the beat. Same from here if I don't add the extra. That's what it's really about. That's just a quick recap. So in case you needed it, that was the recap. Now let's get into some phrase building. You know the great thing about a C7 scale? It also works on G minor 7 to C7, a 2-5 progression. It can work in other places too, but for now, let's use that. I'm going to show you how you can build phrases with this amount of information. Let's pick a number from 1 to 7. Let's take 4. So from 4, do we add the extra note or not in the C7 scale? Not, because it's not a chord note of C7. So now I'm going to see what happens if I add a chord at the end. So I like to think in components: scale, chord, something else, or chord, scale, something else, interval, scale, something else. For example, okay, so down the scale, when I get to the 3rd of C, going up that diminished, which I've spoken about many times, that corresponds to C7. Back down the scale, skip, half step join to the 3rd of F, because we want to come out on a chord note if possible. Let's see if I can remember all that. Okay, that's not bad. Let's try something else. Let's start with an interval this time of a 3rd. Let's start from here. That's a 3rd in the scale. So really good to know things like broken thirds in the C7 scale. If that's on the beat, 1 and 2, if I'm going to descend from here now. And this is a chord note, so we're going to add the extra note that we spoke about. In fact, the end was the same. So 3rd, extra note, up the diminished, down the scale, skip a note, half step, up to the 3rd of F. Here's how it would sound. Okay, let's try not taking it on the first beat and see what happens. This is another way to vary your playing. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3. Did you see that I didn't need all this business this time? Because I had to get there quicker. 1, 2, and 3. Because I lost that whole first beat, right? Now, you end up figuring these things out if you practice slow enough with your phrase building and, use it as composing practice, which is what improv really is. It's composition, spontaneous composition, I call it. Then you'll find once you do a lot of that, you'll be able to work in time, which is essential. Most people, when they're learning to improvise, just won't play in time, and it's essential, but you'll do it slowly enough to be able to figure out these little joins. You know what most people do? They do this. And then they slow down. They keep slowing down for the joins, which is pointless, because the two things we can practice are building short phrases and getting good at that, and making the joins when the chords change. So that's the way to work, okay? This time, what happens if I put the same thing on 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Just straight up the diminished, I can feel it. You see, so 1, 2, 3, and same stuff. Up the diminished. And straight out, you know? So practicing like that is really good as well. Let's do one more completely different phrase. So let's take a chord this time. Let's take a chord from the 6th. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th of C7, the C7 scale. Can you see that? 1 and 2 and 3. This is on the beat and is going to really begin the descend and doesn't need the extra note, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and something like that. Let's see. Up the chord, down the scale, no extra note. Up a chord, down the scale, little motif at the end. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time I'll put a half step under that 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll take a third interval in the C7 scale. Remember those broken thirds? And then down the scale. So because I'm descending from E on a beat, I'll have the extra note. I don't know how it's going to figure out yet. And I'm going to start on the second beat of the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Did you see what happened? So 1, 2, and 3, and extra note. Up a chord from G, and that same little motif. So it was up a chord from G, down the scale, that same little motif. And I'll put a half step under the first note. Why not? That half step had to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3. And that's how you use something like that for phrase building. You've got to do it really slow and really, really get to know the material. But the material can be relatively simple. It's learning to play in time, not miss the chord change from G minor to C7. You'll be amazed how many people do that. Not taking on too much information and thinking, oh, it's just a scale, and I'll just watch another YouTube video. Actually getting in depth with something really pays off. So I hope you found something in there for your playing. If you really want to get to the next step with your own playing in terms of getting fluent in the first place, learning to improvise, use voicings, Barry Harris chord movements, improvisation, accompanying, and much more, I invite you to come and join us on Jazz Skills. In the meantime, thanks for watching and bye for now.